Imagine you're doing something completely ordinary, maybe just walking to grab coffee or sitting on your couch scrolling on your phone, when suddenly your body feels light. Not in a good way, almost floaty, like your feet aren't fully pressing into the ground. Your hands look like your hands, but they feel like they're someone else's. The world around you is still in focus, but it feels slightly unreal, distant, like you're watching life through a thin layer of glass. And in that moment, your mind whispers the same question every single time. What is happening to me right now? If this has ever happened to you, you're not broken, you're not going crazy, and you're definitely not alone. This strange, sudden shift where your body feels light or unreal is something millions of people experience. It can last a few seconds, a few minutes, or sometimes come and go throughout the day. And the scariest part isn't even the feeling itself, it's not knowing why it's happening. Today, we're going to gently unpack exactly why your body does this. Not with scary medical terms, but with clear, honest understanding that actually makes sense. By the end of this, I want you to feel seen, safe, and a lot less worried the next time it happens. Let me paint the picture even more clearly, because I know how specific this feeling is. You're in the grocery store, pushing your cart. Everything is normal. Then, without warning, your body feels like it's made of air. The lights seem a little brighter, the sounds a little farther away. You look at the person next to you, and for a split second, they feel like actors in a movie you're watching. You think, am I here? Is this real? Or you're driving home on a route you know by heart, and suddenly your hands on the steering wheel feel disconnected. The car is moving, but you feel like you're floating just behind yourself. Your heart picks up a little. The thoughts come fast. Is something wrong with me? Should I pull over? These moments can feel so alarming because they strike without warning. 1 second, you're fully in your life. The next second, you're slightly outside of it. So what is actually happening inside your system? At its core, this experience is called depersonalization or derealization. But don't let those words intimidate you. They're simply describing a very intelligent, protective response from your brain and nervous system. Think of your nervous system as an incredibly sophisticated security system. It's designed to keep you safe. When it detects too much stress, emotional pressure, overstimulation, or even suppressed feelings that have been building up, it doesn't always scream danger. Sometimes it does the opposite. It pulls back. It creates a little distance between you and your immediate experience. It's like your brain is saying, this feels like too much right now. Let me soften the edges. Let me create some space so nothing overwhelms you. This is why it often happens during periods of high anxiety, burnout, emotional exhaustion, or even after intense creative work. Your nervous system has been running in overdrive, and this sudden lightness is its way of hitting the brakes before things get too intense. The neurological part is actually quite beautiful when you understand it. Your brain has a region called the temporoparietal junction, basically the area that helps you feel located inside your body. When your nervous system gets flooded with stress hormones, or when you've been in a state of hypervigilance for too long, this area can temporarily adjust its signaling. The result? That floaty, unreal sensation. Your brain is literally creating a buffer. It's the same mechanism that happens during trauma or extreme stress, but it can also be triggered by much more everyday things: too much screen time, emotional suppression, poor sleep, caffeine overload, or even just months of quietly carrying stress without acknowledging it. And here's something important I want you to really hear. This doesn't mean something is wrong with you. It means something is working in you. Your system is trying to protect you in the best way it knows right now. Many people describe it as their mind stepping back from autopilot. You've been going and going, thinking, worrying, planning, scrolling, performing, and suddenly your deeper awareness says, wait, something needs to shift. That light, unreal feeling can actually be a moment where your consciousness is trying to wake you up from living on automatic. I've heard so many stories from people who experience this. One woman told me it happened every single day at 3 p.m. while she was at her desk. She thought she was losing her mind. When she finally slowed down and looked at her life, she realized 3 p.m. was the exact time her nervous system had been holding tension from morning meetings, difficult conversations with her boss, and the pressure of always appearing fine. Her body was waving a white flag. Another person experienced it while walking their dog in the park they'd visited for years. Everything suddenly felt dreamlike. Later, they realized they'd been suppressing grief about their mother's illness. Their system was gently forcing them to feel what they'd been avoiding. This is why it often feels worse when you're tired, when you've been overthinking, or when you've been emotionally fine for too long. The psychological layer is just as important. When we push away difficult emotions, sadness, anger, fear, or even simple exhaustion, they don't disappear. They build pressure. Eventually, the nervous system says, I can't keep doing this perfectly. I'm going to create some distance so you can breathe. That's why people in high-pressure jobs, perfectionists, empaths, and deep thinkers tend to experience this more often. Their systems are constantly managing a lot. But here's the reframe that changes everything. This experience is not an enemy. It's a messenger. It's your body saying, hey, I've been carrying a lot. Can we slow down for a moment? Can we check in? When you stop fighting the feeling and instead get curious about it, something shifts. The fear around it starts to dissolve. So what can you do when it happens? The most powerful thing is also the simplest. Come back to your senses, not by forcing yourself to feel normal, but by gently reconnecting with the present moment through your body. Feel your feet on the ground. Notice the temperature of the air on your skin. Listen to the actual sounds around you instead of the thoughts in your head. Place one hand on your chest and breathe slowly. You're reminding your nervous system, I'm safe, I'm here. We don't need the buffer right now. Over time, as you become less afraid of the feeling, it tends to visit less often, because the fear of the feeling was actually adding more stress to the system. Have you ever had one of these moments where everything suddenly felt light or unreal for no apparent reason? Tell me about it in the comments. Sometimes just knowing other people experience the exact same thing takes away so much of the fear. The deeper truth is that these experiences are incredibly common, far more common than most people realize because we don't talk about them. We think we're the only ones secretly wondering if we're losing touch with reality, but we're not. In fact, many people who go through periods of high personal growth, big life transitions, or deep inner work report these experiences more frequently. It's almost like the mind is temporarily stepping outside its usual patterns to get a wider view. There's something quietly profound about these moments. For a few seconds, the constant story of me and my life softens. The mind stops its endless commentary. You get this brief glimpse of awareness that exists beyond all the roles you play and the thoughts you think. It's not enlightenment or anything dramatic. It's just a momentary pause, a reminder that you are the one experiencing life, not just the thoughts and sensations that make up your daily experience. When you start seeing it this way, the fear transforms into curiosity. Instead of what's wrong with me, the question becomes, what is my system trying to tell me right now? Maybe you're overstimulated and need less input. Maybe you've been ignoring your need for rest. Maybe there's an emotion you've been pushing down that wants to be felt. Maybe your soul is simply asking for more presence. The body has its own wisdom. These sudden shifts into lightness and unreality are part of that wisdom. They don't mean you're broken. They don't mean you're going crazy. They don't mean something terrible is about to happen. They mean you're a human being with a sensitive, intelligent nervous system that's doing its best to navigate a very stimulating world. So the next time it happens, try meeting it with gentleness instead of fear. Talk to yourself like you would talk to someone you love who was feeling scared. Hey, I see you. I feel you. You're safe. This is just a wave passing through. Let's breathe together. Over time, you'll build a new relationship with these moments. They might still come, but they'll feel less threatening. You'll understand them as temporary adjustments rather than emergencies. And slowly, as you listen more closely to what your system needs, better sleep, emotional honesty, less pressure, more presence, these episodes often become less frequent. Not because you fixed yourself, but because you finally started working with your nervous system instead of against it. You're not floating away from reality. You're being gently pulled back into it, back into your body, back into your life, but with more awareness than before. If this video helped you feel less alone or gave you a new way to understand what's happening in your body, please take a second to like it. It really helps these messages reach more people who are quietly struggling with the same thing. And if you're someone who wants to feel more grounded, more connected to yourself, and more at peace in your body, I created a free ebook called The Magic of Affirmations that thousands of people have used to create real shifts in how they feel day to day. It's simple, practical, and designed specifically for people who tend to live in their heads a lot. You can find the link in the description. If you want to go deeper into understanding your body's signals, check out my video on why you sometimes get that random wave of exhaustion or dread out of nowhere. It's in this same body signals series, and many people say it connects perfectly with this one. You're doing better than you think. Your body is wise. And these strange little moments of lightness, they're not signs that something is wrong. They're signs that you're awake enough to notice when something needs your attention. Take care of yourself out there. I'll see you in the next one.